All right, welcome back. It is Back Talk Live, July 19th. We're happy to have with us Parks White. He's the candidate for district attorney, or the challenger, and we're talking about how he's going to speed up this process. We don't have a caller, do we?
We do have Dobbs.
Oh, Dobbs. Sorry, Dobbs.
Tom, Lee, how are y'all doing?
How you doing, man?
Where you been?
Man, it's good. It's good to have y'all back on the air. You know, I thought Lee maybe retired down to the beach. Tom, I was scared to death some of them dogs over teachers and got a hold of you.
Thank you,
Good to
Dobbs.
see you back.
Glad to be
Mr.
back.
White, look, the jails are overcrowded now. We don't believe in the death penalty anymore. So, does it really do any good to convict all these people? I mean, it's about, you know, the people that pay for it is the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I think I can answer that.
Sure.
A recent House bill that just passed reduced a number of penalties for nonviolent offenders, and I think that's a step in the right direction by and large. What they did was they looked at drug possession differently than they did a lot of other crimes, and made sure that they were sending the people that are really dangerous to prison rather than people we're merely mad at. You know, I applaud the efforts of Chief Judge John Bailey, who is setting up a drug court here. We have had one down in Augusta. And what drug courts do is make sure that people who have committed crimes that are nonviolent, that have a drug-related component to them, have the opportunity over a 2-year period to work through rehabilitation. They're required to go through 1 hour of AA or NA a day. They're required to see the court once a week, have urinalysis done. But it's a matter of accountability. It's teaching them to correct their lives and not just put them in the prison system that doesn't solve a drug addiction issue. At the end of a drug court, if a person successfully completes it, that 2-year period, 75% of them will never see another pair of handcuffs, will never see another arrest. That's a great solution. Now, to answer your question with regard to other offenders, that there are people out there that we need to incarcerate. We need to leave in prison. And I do believe in the death penalty. I think it's appropriate in circumstances where statutory aggravators apply. But when you think about this economically. It is cheaper to have a certain class of person in prison, a recidivist felon, than it is to have them out on the street. It's cheaper to house them and feed them than it is overall the cost of what they're doing out in the street committing crime. You look at someone who's tearing all the copper out of a chicken house or a church or a home, hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage. They're never going to be able to repay. If they're out in the street, they're committing these crimes over and over again, the overall loss to society is greater than it would be just to have them housed and incapacitated. And this is best evidenced by the drop in the crime rate across the country over the 90s. That crime rate went down. Violent crime diminished across the country over the course of the 90s and the 2000s, and the reason for it was that the prison population was increasing. We were isolating and incapacitating the most dangerous among us. So we need to make sure that the right people are going to prison, and the people who can be rehabilitated get a chance for rehabilitation.
How about that, Dobbs?
I agree. You know, I am of the belief that maybe we need to go back to hanging somebody every once in a while.
Good old public hanging wouldn't be bad.
I think it'd be a big deterrent, Tom.
Unless, of course, it's me.
That might be a really good show.
Exactly, that would be. And guys, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Dobbs. Appreciate your call. All right,
Yeah,
so
you know, you got this marijuana thing, for example. You know, back when I went to college in the early 70s, you know, everybody started, I don't know if they started then, but a lot of people were smoking dope. And, you know, they've been doing it ever since I left, and they're still doing it down there today. And, you know what, I know that it's not legal and all that, but boy, it seems like there's a lot bigger fish to fry than kids smoking dope. To me. David, go ahead, David.
I have a question for Parks if he's still on. I'd like to know, listening to Parks speak on the phone or on TV, it's evident that he could be a high-dollar Atlanta-type lawyer. What drives him to want to be a lawyer in our community and be from Hartwell, Georgia?
Well, I think I can answer that. Money has never been a motivating factor for me. I have a strong call to service. And I say that my father was a fighter pilot in the Air Force for 29 years, served the country as an officer in the Air Force. My grandfather served in World War II as a captain in the Army. I've always felt a need to give back. And when I When I left the DA's office, I took a 25% pay cut to join the Navy. When I left the Navy, I took a 25% pay cut to go back to the DA's office. So money is not a motivating factor. What is a motivating factor is my passion, my love for what I do. I love being on the side of the state to work with victims, to make sure that their rights are protected, that an accused, a guilty person is held accountable for their crime. It makes me feel like that I've made society better when I've successfully prosecuted a person who's hurt another person and removed them from society. It has to have that effect. When you isolate someone who's murdered someone or injured someone in a profound way, you're making the world a better place, and that's what motivates me.
Any other questions, David?
I guess David hung up.
Now, so we're not going to hire more people. What about the people that work there, all the staff, Parks? I mean, are you going to do like they do on television sometimes when the new guy comes in, he cleans the house out and hires his own folks and all that, or what?
Not a chance. I've met so many good people that work in the DA's office. You know, I think the issue in the DA's office is leadership. As soon as the selection is over and we win, I'm going to go in the next day, if Mr. Lavender will allow me, and I'll speak to the staff and tell them they all have a job. So long as they want it, they all have a job. But they're going to be working harder than they ever have in their entire life.
Brian, go ahead, Brian.
Sounds like one of my old bosses.
Yes, I just had a question for Parks. I had a friend that was killed in a DUI fatality about 3 months ago, and I did a little research on the guy that hit him, and found out that he had 3 DUIs over a 7-year period of time between 2001 and 2008. And District Attorney Lavender's office basically dismissed the first one. The second one lapsed because the statute got it, and after 4 years, nothing had happened. And the third one, on the documents, it said, the prosecutor has expressed no interest in further prosecution of this matter. And that was the third DUI. And so he released this gentleman back into society, back into our county, and he killed 2 people, and one of those was my friend. And so since that happened 3 months ago, charges were brought up for a 4th DUI, and there's still no charges or court date set for this gentleman on his 4th DUI with 2 fatalities. And I just think about this kind of thing, Parks, I guess, and I realize this probably is not an isolated incident. And I just am curious, one, what would you do different if you were the district attorney, and what would you do in this case? And I don't know if you can talk about it or not since it's still a pending case, but, what would you say about something like this? And I really don't think this is an isolated instance where the innocent of our community are not protected because the district attorney's office is not doing what they need to be doing.
Well, I'll tell you that I take DUI very seriously, and I think that the office should. In Augusta, we handle the misdemeanors in Columbia County. It's a 3-county circuit, and we handle the misdemeanors there. And last year, one of the cases I tried was a DUI. It was the gentleman blew a .082 on the intoxilizer, and there are offices that might reduce that offense to a reckless conduct or some other offense. But the evidence was there. They brought in an expert witness to testify that the reading, the margin of error in the machine could have meant that the reading could have really been as low as .07. But it was my belief that the evidence was there and that he needed to be tried for that DUI instead of reducing it to a reckless driving, which the defense had asked for, and I refused. And he was found guilty, and he went to jail for that DUI. So I think DUI cases must be taken very seriously. When you have someone who over and over again gets DUIs and is not prosecuted for it, one, they're emboldened by the system. They believe there are no consequences for their actions. Two, you've dropped a floating human landmine back in the community. How long is it going to take before someone dies? That's a terrible story, and I'm sorry that happened.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And you can count on my vote because I completely don't believe that our current district attorney's office is effective on any case, and I appreciate it. You can definitely count on my vote.
Thank you.
I appreciate the call, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, so
You can
Everybody,
already-
everybody's got a job if they are willing to work harder than they ever have. Right?
That's right.
Yeah, I sat on a jury where a fellow Carmichael was the guy.
Michael Carmichael. Yeah, he was the
Is
guy.
that- yeah.
at our-
James
Oh,
Carmichael.
was it James? I'm sorry. I thought it was
He represented the district
Jim, that's right.
attorney's position, the state's position, and I thought he did a really good job. I guarantee you, he was if his notes and if his preparation looked as good as his hair, I guarantee you he was going to do good. He had some good-looking hair. That man has got some hair.
He's sharp too.
I noticed that kind of thing.
I don't. All right, Parks, if people want to help, and I guess we're down to 12 days before the election, July 31st, if people want to help you in your campaign, how would they reach you? What can they do?
Well, they can contact me directly. I'm available on my cell phone anytime. My number is 706-955-6424, and I'd love to speak to them directly. And we have a great staff of dedicated grassroots volunteers. They're doing great work. I appreciate the efforts of everyone who's working so hard to win this election. And we look for more. We welcome more. Anyone else who wants to volunteer, we greatly appreciate it.
Now,
Thank you.
for those of us in our community that are as slow as I am, would you say that number one more time and just a little bit slower so we can write it down?
Okay, 706-955-6424.
Gotcha. All right, any other questions for the DA? I mean, the candidate for DA?
Well, I can't think of any. I wish you all the best. If you win the thing, I've heard a lot of good things about you. You got, usually the guy with the most signs wins, and in that case, you're the winner. I see your signs everywhere. All the best. For folks that are voting for Bob Lavender, all the best to you too. We were not fortunate enough for Bob to ask to be on the show, and I'm sorry about that because we'd like to have interviewed him too, but. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. We're all going to live through it. I wish you all the best, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, Parks White, candidate for district attorney for our Northern Judicial Circuit. Thanks for being here, and we'll be back with the second half hour of Back Talk Live right after this.